Don't fall for this little advertising ploy that you, as an LLC owner, may get in the mail. My name is Paul Vazquez with Tax Lab, and you need to become an ethical millionaire. Now, I think this notice gets a little borderline unethical. Let's take a look. All right, please ignore the QR code. Don't click on it. But here it says that due October 31st, time to pay your 2025 annual registration fee. These registration fees do exist. Your LLC may be, and check out the may be, administratively dissolved or revoked if the 2025 annual registration fee is not paid by the date. If you've already paid, please disregard this notice. Well, this is not a notice. This is an advertising piece. And this company, bizfile.org or Business Filing LLC, is not a state actor. Even though this notice doesn't say it is an advertisement or make any representation beyond the fine print, that it is an advertisement. So nothing on there really screams advertisement, but it is an advertisement. And it does, at first I pulled it out. I said, okay, yeah, I guess that's coming up, this registration fee. And then it says administratively resolved or revoked, right? Your eyes go there first. And so now you're worried about it. So I had to check online. I'm like, what is this? Obviously, I knew from the start that this wasn't a state actor. This was an advertisement. I knew that, but I wanted to double check. And it's the regular registration date. Yes, it can be revoked or dissolved. But that's like every year that you don't pay or don't pay on time. And normally what happens is that they'll put it in inactive status. And then you can reinstitute it for a fee. So I mean, I guess it's a nice notice. I'm about, we just started with August. So August, September, October. So like 3 months away. So like another quarter almost of the year has to pass before this comes due. So, strikes a little apprehension. If you don't know any better, you could end up probably paying a whole lot more by utilizing their service because they got to pay for this advertising. They got to pay for the hundreds, the tens of thousands, most likely tens of thousands of dollars that they're paying to send out this piece of paper. They've got to recuperate that. How are they going to do that? We do our best to kind of keep track of that for our clients, but we're probably not the best at keeping track of that because it's such a small issue. Usually LLCs in the state of Virginia are running about $50 actually. I think it's $50, $100 the first time you register, $50 every time after that. If we're managing that for a client, we just charge our time, however long it takes us to go in there and make sure it gets paid. Your S Corps, of course, their pricing is going to be slightly different. It's going to be based on the number of shares that you put on there. You can get around a high fee by putting in a low number of shares, but you might want to make sure that you don't hurt yourself for how you may want to sell off that business once you're ready to retire. And then, of course, with the S Corps, they're a little bit higher threshold of what you need to do. It's not just pay a fees. You also have to submit some annual minutes. And so the process becomes a little bit more detailed or a little bit more is required, which is once again why these companies are just targeting LLCs for the most part, because there's very little that needs to get done other than paying that registration fee. A lot of people take that opportunity to, do an annual meeting and things like that. So it is kind of a good opportunity to do your annual meeting and to help, set those guidelines for establishing the difference between you and your business, to really kind of help solidify that, what they call the corporate veil, so that clear line of distinction between you and your business. If you're setting up an LLC, that's what you're wanting to do. S corp, absolutely. So it is kind of a nice reminder that way, but it's still nothing to have any anxiety over, like they seem to really try to invoke here. Yes, it may, but you've got plenty of time, and rarely is it cut and dry, as they seem to threaten there. So just be careful out there. There are a lot of people who will use real life rules and consequences to try to scare you into a rash decision based on some type of fear. So number one, I always try to do some introspection when you hear something. Is somebody trying to use fear or some type of intimidation tactic to get you to do something without thinking about it, right? If they're trying to overcome and make you act on emotion and not think through, then there's a good chance there's a reason why they don't want you to think things through, why they want you to act on emotion instead of logic. I think in sales, it's a lot more ethical to, of course, lean into the logic side. And still, I think it's perfectly ethical to use real emotional outcomes to decisions, but to, of course, temper that with realism. Like I said, yes, it can be dissolved or revoked because you didn't pay, but it's usually not like this the next day. It usually goes from an active status to an inactive status, and even then, you could still have them renew it. And probably the biggest downside to that with an LLC is that there are some like legal issues. Basically, your entity wasn't kind of registered at that point, so you may not benefit from the law in your state because you weren't following it. If there's any legal issues that come up while you're not registered, banks may be concerned and may want to cancel your account. So there are some fearful things that could happen, but it's rare that those things do. From what I've seen, the risk is still there. Just get it registered, move on with your life. There are bigger, more important things to have anxiety over, but that should not be one. There's probably lots of things in business where if you take a step back, take a breath, it's not worth the anxiety, the fear, the anger. You should be using your emotions to help you achieve great things and not be trying to stop fires that never existed. I wish you guys all the success.